hopefully it will do a good job with us. So welcome to the Istio User Experience Workgroup. Edgar, can you tell us about this Friday's Cali playback? Get people to be interested in attending?
Well, I think that is a little, not a lot of work this time because of the Christmas break. So I think that is mostly bug fixes. We are trying to have some things in place for multi-cluster support, but it's just a very basic support for multi-cluster. It's about the multi-primary and multi-network setup approach. I think that there are a few improvements for Jaeger or traces views. I think that's mostly where improvements are taking place. And a few community contributions. There is a new authentication strategy that was merged recently.
Excellent.
Yep.
If I pasted the link to this document in the UX Slack for Istio, if you could add a link to how to attend the meeting and maybe just a sentence about what will be there, people might, who are interested in specific topics, might show up. If you try to add to this and it doesn't work, just add a comment and I will add it and give you permission for next time.
Right. I will see if I can get the public link to the calendar. We have
Perfect.
several meetings there.
Thank you, Edgar. Edgar, what time zone are you in?
It's Mexico time zone. I'm in Mexico. Yep.
Excellent. So one thing I wanted to mention, because I was going over my stuff for the new year, has anyone been watching the UX category or using discussed.istio.io? I stopped using it, I realized, in the fall. And so I noticed there were a few questions and they're months old. So if no one is looking at it, we should either put a message there saying that or someone should start looking at it. So I trust no one on this call watches or uses that site. So last week we were talking about this analyzer for deprecated and alpha annotations. One of the things we wanted badly to ship in 1.9 was ways to help users know if they were using bad features, such as alpha level features. Unfortunately, although I worked hard on this, it did not merge until an hour after we cut the 1.9. And since then, we've gone through another release candidate, and the cherry pick for 1.9 hasn't merged. Because it has been so long, I am worried that no one has seen this during testing and that we're not going to get enough feedback on this to put it in 1.9. I wanted to know what people thought.
I feel like so since the rest of so I think we talked in one of the TLC meeting that this feature does not have to go into kind of the major release cycle, so it can go like 1.9.n. So I think it still makes sense for people to try it out in 1.9.n, along with the other like maybe proto feature analysis. So, and which is still the current kind of the plan. So I think it's still valuable, but I'm not sure actually how we're testing 1.9.n. Like maybe in a testing day or something. How are we gonna test those?
So I can reach out to the release managers to try to get them to put this in, but I think we might be building release candidate 0 or beta 3 next, and but I will see what they think about it. I'm not seeing any pushback from here. This was super frustrating to me because I wrote the thing, I thought it was approved. I spent the rest of the day writing a bunch of docs for it and wasted a whole day when I could have been pinging people to finish that up. So just FYI, don't be like me. Make sure all your PRs are merged when they're going to cut a build. Mitch, did you join? looks like we don't have Mitch. Um, th- so we have been trying to get the CR status and the wait functionality to beta. There's quite a few errors here. Mitch has been assigned to them all. Um, if anyone wants to take a look at this, I'm going to work on the doc test, but we can't be claiming that this feature is beta if it's got these flaws. We have to really dig into those. So if anyone wants to work on that, let me know. Uh, all of the work groups are being asked to automate doc tests, and that's why I took on the doc test for wait. Is anyone else working on any doc tests for 1.9?
Hey Ed, sorry I'm late.
Oh, hey, Mitch. Mitch, did you want to talk about wait? And we have a lot of issues related to it, and maybe they're all duplicates of the same thing. Um, uh, what do we think about the defaultness of CR status? And can we get a lot of the stuff tackled in the 190.191 timeframe?
So about half of those issues are new as of like Friday night or this morning. So I'm
I
still going
noticed.
through them to understand each one. Some of them we will be able to address this week for sure. I'm not certain that we'll be able to address all of them. Some of them I think are probably not blocking issues, um, such as inefficient marshaling, that sort of thing. We can address performance problems as they arise rather than proactively, but I'm really still trying to get a handle on the whole of the list. The things that are towards the bottom, um, not all of them, but many of them are addressed by a PR that just merged. They should actually be marked as fixed. I'll go through each individually to make sure that that happens.
Excellent. And if anyone on this work group a lot of testing, I put a link here on this issue to the Istio page for wait. I encourage more than just Mitch and myself to try it, and maybe that will get more feedback that we need to get this feature totally ready for release.
Yeah, yeah, that would be great. Also, if anyone is looking for work this week, a good number of the issues on that page that Ed was just looking at relate to analyzer status, which is a feature that I have sort of shepherded through, but I didn't author it, and I'm a little bit less familiar with it than some of you are. So if you would like to jump in and handle an issue to help us move this feature to beta, that would be much appreciated.
Excellent.
Do we want to talk at some point? I mean, we were talking about the beta promotion of status last week, and we said that there were some issues blocking it. We never explicitly said which issues are the blockers, and we have this long list of issues. I just want to avoid like having this moving carrot of like, oh, we're ready, we fixed this issue, then oh, here's a new issue, like we need to fix this one as well.
Right.
Like, would it be helpful to go through and mark which ones are blockers and which ones aren't blockers so that we're all on the same page? And
I went through and I only saw one marked as P1 and none of them had statuses, but that might have been the old kind of status. I might not have seen the new status.
well, I made a bunch of these issues last week, and I don't think I assigned any status to any of them. So that's
Excellent.
probably like they're pretty
So-
new. So that's probably why.
I'm going to ask Mitch to both say what is P0 and P1 and greater than P2 on this page, and then also do it for real on the individual issues so that we can get a better idea of where we should put our attentions. So I'd rather see everybody working on the P0s and the blockers, and the greater than P2s we can ignore, but I don't know which ones those are.
Yeah, that's a great point. I will go through and do that as soon as we're done here.
Excellent. So we were talking about the automated testing. I'm going to test that wait feature. Shweta pointed out that we have in addition to testing, we have a list of all of the documents we own. Here is supposedly the list of what we own. I have a tool that uses grep to find these as well that I use, which might be newer than what's here. But Shweta wanted us as a work group to go through and see if any of the pages we own need changes for 1.9. And I was wondering if anyone could go through and just read these and say if we still sort of believe in them, or if they should be removed or corrected, just to make issues about them that then could be later tackled. Is there anyone in the group of cycles to do that? Most of these are just analysis message, although some of the analysis messages have, remediation instructions and actual text behind them. All right, I'm not seeing volunteers, but if you do have a chance, come back and look at this. Otherwise, it'll fall to myself. The other thing that Shweta asked for was feature status, to make sure that everything we had for feature status was correct. What I realized was that none of the features that I see here, like S&I and all this, have anything to do with what our work group does. I was wondering if we should try to add features to that list for some of the things that our work group sort of owns: the analyzers, the statuses, weight, and the experimental commands. Do we want to go through and sort of say these experimental commands are experimental? Anything to help people understand like what this situation is?
I think that would be great, but I don't know like what the scope of the feature status that on that page we initially wanted. I thought that was just the kind of the main three categories of Istio that.
There's the three categories: stable and beta and alpha, but the problem is the actual features, right?
Yeah.
So I went through these and I'm like, well, I'm looking for things that have to do with us so I can see if the phase is correct. And what I realized was that none of these things have to do with us. We never put any of our analyzers or command line stuff into this list. So we could just say, oh, none of this relates to us and we're done. But it might be better for us to get more visibility to the TOC and et cetera if we put some of our features here. Like we said, the analyzer was stable, and we said weight is alpha going to beta, that kind of thing. If no one has any ideas for categories, Mitch and I can do it ourselves, but I was hoping someone else might have a good idea.
I think it's a good idea, but I don't have opinions on what to put there.
All right, so the things I want to add are basically these. I will, if Mitch agrees, we'll update that page with help with Shweta. The other thing that we were picked on, it was pointed out that our group hadn't done, is the weekly status. So we were supposed to say for 1.9, sort of the status of everything. And I've marked the promotion, which I did with Carolyn, as green. But some of these either didn't get done, or we decided to do them differently, or whatever. So we're going to have to go through all these. I know this item was depending on something from Stephen Dake, who maybe has left Istio. He certainly has left IBM, and I'm not sure what we can count on him for this stuff. Is anyone working on any of these items and wants to colorize it? So I'll follow up with Mitch on this one. With Stephen on this one. Mitch, how about, so it says you're the owner for this, and this, I think, is this that analyzer that I was talking about that sort of didn't get done. So should I mark it yellow, red? What is the opinion?
So do we have like a guide for what yellow and red mean? Is everything supposed to end up green or red, like done or not done, or
Well,
you definitely had work on it?
so the work, at least for annotations, is ready to merge, although it didn't merge. So I'm making it yellow. As for individual fields and that sort of thing, no changes were made on that stuff because I didn't think that stuff made it into 1.9 in the API repo.
Yeah, we didn't actually expect individual API fields to make it into 1.9. That wasn't part of the roadmap. So I'd say I'm comfortable calling it yellow. We had forward progress, not quite as much as we wanted. Specifically now, after the last TOC meeting, we've got to start thinking about API status and how that is different from feature status.
We
So
we
that's sort
also
of a scope change that we didn't anticipate.
we wanted the istioctl upgrade command to somehow run the analyzer for alpha and deprecation and that sort of stuff, especially deprecation, automatically. And that didn't happen at all. So maybe this is red. We could sort of say, well, we're going to put it in the docs. If we in fact change the docs and said before you run upgrade, you should run your analyzer to see if you have any of the following deprecation error codes, but we didn't do that either.
Yeah, I think realistically, this was around mostly implementing the feature, what we've called feature status, the thing that tracks what alpha experimental features you're making use of, or features is a bit of a hot button word. Alpha or experimental things you're making use of that might cause problems with your upgrade. Tying it into the upgrade command afterwards is fairly trivial. So I'm not super worried about that, but I also wouldn't want to do that until we're confident in command.
Yeah. And I also think it's trivial, but then if it was trivial, why didn't we do it? Okay, so
Well,
the
we
second,
don't have the command we're confident in yet. We don't have
true.
that upgrade risk
So
concept
I'm gonna,
worked out.
so I'm trying to decide if it should be yellow or red. This next item requires remediation is pretty much the same. I mean, it's just sort of dividing what Mitch was going to do and what I was going to do. So I think these two are set, both yellow. This am I using custom non-vanilla settings um, was supposed to be handled by the commands that would tell you what you had installed your control plane with. There are PRs for those, but they did not merge, and they won't merge in 1.9. So I'm thinking we should color this red. Any objections? The next thing was, did it succeed? Which was basically going to be so we did a lot of improvements with verify install. We fixed most of the errors on verify install, and they did merge into 1.9. We were going to have the istioctl upgrade sort of automatically run verify install after the pods started and sort of said, not only did we upgrade, but the verification succeeded, but we did not do that. We didn't make any changes to upgrade to check that. Should we mark this red and say we're going to do it in 1.10? I don't think we can get away with yellow, although maybe we can get away with yellow because verify install was sort of fixed.
Yeah, if we fixed verify install, that means at least that we have documentation out there of how users can know that their upgrade succeeded. It would be great if we also were telling them proactively, but yeah, I think that sounds yellow.
All right, so verify installs yellow. Multiple control planes, see which data planes are connected where. So I sort of red. I think we did some stuff to show you which injectors are where, and that is in 1.9, although not a lot of eyes are on it. There's no documentation on it. Therefore, I don't know if it's actually usable. Has anyone looked at this informational stuff about multiple data planes and where you are in your canary? I kind of want to mark it red.
Well, Ed, it looks like that was supposed to be experimental. So if it's merged but not documented, that's usually what experimental means, right? We don't want to document it for users until we move to alpha.
Should I make it green then and say it's there, and then we can file issues if people claim they can't understand the output?
Sounds green to me.
All right. I'm going to put on the calendar for next week to give a demo of that for this group so I can get more feedback about it. I don't think it got a lot of eyes. All right, I'll fix that later. Safely remove old control plane once unused. Here we see the contributor is environments. So this was one of those things we put on our roadmap, but then we expected another work group to do. Is anyone from environments on this call?
I think they have that. There's like this istioctl uninstall -- revision.
Okay.
It exists at least. I don't know if it meets all of your requirements.
Let's mark it green, because you can certainly safely remove the control plane, although I don't know if the requirement to tell which control planes were unused was sort of there. We'll have to go back and see that one. Cleverly, we forgot to link it to a particular issue, so we can't be sure what we were promising. So also not linked to issues are these two items, which seem to have no owners. The first one were commands and analyzers for new 1.8 and 1.9 features. Did anyone write a new command or analyzer for new features? I don't think anyone wrote them. I think this was a placeholder because we expected new features to come, but this was a stability thing. So I'm going to say that we should mark it as NA, which doesn't have a color.
Yeah, that works.
And research was also had no thing other than that we were going to do research. Mitch, did you do any research?
No, we had a goal, but we had a UX researcher who was going to be joining the team and was tentatively going to take on this assignment, and then they found other employment. So,
Okay. I'm just going to put a strike through these because we didn't do them and they had no success criteria, so there's no way to give it a color. And we didn't do any machine readable API, did we?
no, I think that's just remember we put the P2 as something we expect to get to in 110.
Perfect. So I think with the exception of this upgrade is it possible, which was supposed to be like a Istio, like a pre-check or an install that was supposed to say if you could upgrade, like if you had the right Kubernetes version and stuff. Maybe it's already done, but I will follow up with environments. Otherwise, it looks like we have done our status fields, and we have several greens. So good job, everyone. So the IstioCon call for papers I was mentioning before the meeting started closed yesterday. Did anyone submit any talks for IstioCon? This would be a good chance to promote them. Oh, I guess they haven't been accepted yet, but I was just wondering. I think this is the first IstioCon. No? Yes?
Yeah, this is the first one.
Okay. But no one's talking about it. So either you're shy and you're not going to say anything until you've been accepted, or you were so busy with your issues for 1.9 you didn't write anything. I will let you know what mine is after I hopefully get accepted. If not, you won't hear a thing from me. So we may be able to to end early today. Looks like we don't have much else. So Edgar, thanks for adding the link to the Kali calendar. I will try it out. And next week, I'll try to show some of the stuff that we delivered in 1.9. So unless anyone has anything, I'll close the meeting.